Welcome, everybody. It being 7 p.m., November 19th, I'm going to open up the Halifax Planning Board meeting. This meeting is by Zoom. I'm just going to make an announcement, and then I'm going to ask for everyone to tell who's on. Due to Governor Baker's orders, we are allowed to meet remotely. Any audience participation is welcome and allowed as long as that person is identified. And for the record, any votes that are taken by remote will be by roll call. So could I just, for the secretary, let's note who is in attendance.
Gordon.
Mark Millius here.
Ellen Diaz here, obviously.
Rick Mary here.
Amy Altroop here. Gordon?
Gordon's here.
Okay, so we have everybody. Joanne, you got that? Joanne?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, let's open up. Our first item on the agenda is discussion on Autumn Lane regarding a message that came from Merrill Engineering from Peter Palmieri to Don Triani. And from what I understand, we have not heard any response from Mr. Triani. There's something on the screen. I'm not sure what that is.
I took pictures today to help us if anybody didn't get out there.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I don't think there's really anything to discuss. We're going to try to reach out to Mr. Triani. From reviewing all the minutes and some of the memos, he's been non-responsive, I guess, for the last year or so. I will try myself. If there's no response, I'm not sure. We'll bring it back to the board and figure our next course of action. Why Palmieri is looking for the information, we still don't know that Triani contacted them or Palmieri is just trying to follow up to see what's going on. Does anybody have any comments? Gordon, I think you're more familiar with Autumn Lane than anybody. Gordon, are you with us? How do I do this? Charlie, you're hosting, right?
Yeah, and it's his mic. If he wanted to be unmuted, it's up to him at this point. Everybody came in unmuted. They make the decision whether to mute themselves or not.
Okay. Gordon, can you hear us? Okay.
He is on mute, I can tell on the screen. You see the little microphone with the red on it. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know if anybody can send him a message, but all right. We'll move on to the next item, which is pasture lane. I have not gotten any reports.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
we're already moving. So I thought at the last meeting we had said I thought Don Triani or somebody had sent to get the road. Is that why we were discussing it? Sent to get the road released? Am I misunderstanding how the last meeting went?
I don't know anything about getting it released. We got an email from Merrill indicating that someone contacted him about what needs to be done on the road.
Oh, and we didn't know who that was, I guess.
No, unless Joanne, you can help me with that. I don't believe. I don't know how Mr. Merrill's engineers. What triggered this? It sounded like there was some contact from Triani.
Well, Peter Palmieri got an email from Don Triani who asked him if they could release the road, if the planning board would release the road.
Okay. All right, we'll just keep it on the agenda. And then I think, Joanne, you did send something out to Mr. Triani with no response.
Right, he hasn't responded.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent that email to you a couple of weeks ago from him.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I lost the
Lost the sound. I'm back here.
Oh, okay. We were just discussing Autumn Lane, and I didn't know if you could fill us in. We discussed that it must have been Triani that contacted Merrill's, and so we really don't know what's going on unless you have something to shed on it, Gordon.
I don't have any updates on Triani, no.
Okay. That answer your question, Amy?
Yeah, I just wanted to fulfill it. I'll send you guys all the pictures through Joanne in the morning.
Okay. Next item for discussion is Pasture Lane. I have not heard anything other than what I reported to the board at the last meeting. But I did suspect that it would be probably 30 to 60 days before we got something from them as far as getting that lot released and the road improved. Anybody got any comments on that?
Well, the release won't happen until after they get the road done, unless they were going to do a bond.
That's correct. That's correct. I'm assuming that he'll come in and meet with us once they get that last lot engineered and ready for sale. But that's just what I'm assuming. Next item for discussion is the meeting start time for Zoom. I just wanted to throw it out to anybody, if they still want to continue at 7, if you want to start a little earlier. It's whatever the board's pleasure is. If you find
7 works for me.
Amy,
I'm okay with 7.
Rick,
Yeah, fine.
Mark.
Yep, I prefer it.
Okay, then we'll stay at 7 p.m.
Excellent.
Is anybody, the next item is the Complete Streets program. I'm hoping that everybody can maybe come up with 3 items on a list for our next meeting. Charlie did forward to us a contract that the selectmen had signed for that particular grant. I don't know that there's any reason to go over it tonight. If those that want to read it can take a look at it.
I did read it. The only thing that I saw was that we had an obligation contract to spend $38,000. I don't see it being a grant.
Okay. That I don't know. I think we were told it was a grant.
Well, when you read it, it says obligation.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Next item on the agenda is O'Reilly's. I think we had a pretty good resolution. At the last meeting, we discussed that. Gordon contacted the Armory Engineering. They went out and took a look. It wasn't really clear from his response as to whether or not that's the way that it should have been. But they did come up with a solution. It is angled. They are going to put in a painted crosswalk to sort of delineate which direction people should be going. And then that.
Painted now.
Pardon me?
It's painted now.
Oh, it is? Okay. I haven't been that way. Okay. Did it look okay?
Yes.
Okay. We met with him 2 days later and he indicated that it would start at probably around 6 and narrow down to about 5 feet to meet the existing sidewalk that was there. So I think
when we first looked at it without the paving being there, it looked worse than it turned out.
Yeah, they added a lot of asphalt in the front there.
Yeah, I agree. When I first looked at it, I thought, but once it was paved, it did look considerably better. I still don't know that it should have headed in that direction, but that's what was on the plan.
It sounds like it does meet all requirements. It's one of those issues where it's technically correct. It's just not the most desirable thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think the biggest thing is because it's coming off of the radius.
Yeah, I was looking at it. So they would have had to like double compound that curve, and it probably wouldn't have worked with the way that it slopes up into the lot.
Yeah.
And they probably, if they changed it any further, they wouldn't have had enough access to get into the facility itself. So, all right. I think the next course would be, and Joanne, you can tell me, I know that Gordon had requested the status of some of the revolving accounts, and I did notice that O'Reilly's was on there. And either I or you can send a letter to O'Reilly's. We're going to have to get that replenished. And the other thing that I'm not clear on is there's any other inspections that the planning board is going to require, as far as the drainage, the structures, the parking lot, to make sure everything was built according to the plan. It seems to me that those items should be reviewed.
We can request Amory to go out there and take an overview of the whole thing.
Okay.
And they should get us an as-built of the site plan, and he could compare that to what we had as well.
Okay. I think, though, that what we should do is we probably should get, right now we're in the negative with O'Reilly. So if we're going to do that, then I would probably suggest that we get an idea on costs from Omri, and or tell them that we're going to need an additional $2,000 to verify as-built and so forth and so on. So what's the board's pleasure?
I would make a motion to contact them and tell them that we need another $1,800, $2,000 added to the revolving account.
A second.
Do I hear a second?
Yep, me.
I'm going to take a roll call vote. And just to clarify, 2,000, Gordon, you said 18 to
Yeah,
2. Okay, let's say 2,000. We can always refund it.
Yep.
If needed. We have a motion and a second. I'm going to go for a roll call vote. Mark?
Mark, yes.
Okay, Rick?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Okay. Let's go into correspondence next. We have a various amount of emails, and pretty much the correspondence is the emails, from Charlie to the planning board regarding the Complete Streets program contract. And I think we just discussed that, and Amy, you were trying to decide what an obligation was versus a grant.
No, that's what I read, is that it was an obligation.
Okay. All right. Any other comments from the board on this one? All right. On 11/9, we received another email from local Larry's Tacos, and I've read it. And I've read it a couple of times. And it sounds like he doesn't want us to go where he originally wanted. He wanted to go someplace else and wanted to know whether or not those places would require the same site plan. Am I correct with that, Joanne?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So my
It
suggestion.
really all depends. I mean, I like to look at all these at an individual basis. Depends on where he's proposing it. Some places we could actually require more things depending
on where he is.
I think he's talking about going to Nezzarella's.
Yes.
Okay. So is the board's pleasure to get back to him, and that no matter where he goes, he's going to have to come up with some sort of a site plan or potentially come in and request waivers. I think the paperwork is kind of overwhelming him. The fact that he's going to have to pay a fee and the fact that he's going to have to come up with some sort of a plan. That's only my opinion. The board have any suggestions? Next time he sends an email in, or?
I mean, I think we have to take it based on what he's looking for. You know, he needs to give us a request of the place and an overview of what he's doing before we can really make any decision.
I agree. Any other comments?
Could you waive the fee if you waive the review?
I'm sort of a little hesitant on waiving the fees. I'm more inclined to waive some of the requirements. And if he wants to come in, I think we'd be more than happy to sit down with him. I would be more than happy to sit down with him and just help him with a sketch. I mean, he came in with a Google Earth picture, which is really not acceptable. And I did send him an email. He could use accesses information versus, paying a few $1,000s for a site plan. Fees, I'm not inclined, but it's whatever the board decides. Waivers, I think if he does come up with some sort of plan, we can list the waivers and then decide on each waiver individually.
Yeah, I agree. We can definitely work with him, but it's going to depend on which site he's looking at and proposes. Because, we might be able to come up with a sketch of something that we already know is existing, but if it's anything that requires any significant work or engineering, obviously, that would be on him.
Okay. Any other comments?
Well, just that Joanne was having emails with his wife Cheryl, and in it says formal schedule of operation, a list of employees, seating and parking, entrance, exit, and then to sketch it on a site plot plan where they're going to be parking in the parking lot, and to speak to Rob, the zoning enforcement officer. So is that what we should aim for? And maybe, is that what we're supposed to be doing here? Joanne, do you have any comments on that? It was November 9th email. Remember that?
Yeah, just that that's what they've done in the past. So that's why I was suggesting those things.
How much is the site plan review for something like this?
I think $100.
Yeah. So, yeah, did you see the recent emails from them today? I did send those to you. An email.
I have 11/17. Let me look. Probably.
I'm not sure if they're listening in. I told them that you might get a chance to talk about it. So, but I can invite them to the next one if you'd like.
Yeah, if you invite him, we can try to work with him. But I agree with the fee. I don't think it's excessive, and I think it's kind of necessary for that part. But we could work with them as far as what we're going to require. It's weird too, because depending on what he proposes, the leniency in that is greatly gonna, I don't know, it's far greater than the cost of the application.
Yeah, it is only $100. So.
Yeah, so I don't know how to get it across to him that we're willing to work with him to save him thousands in engineering potentially. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I would just hope that maybe that point gets across that we'll do our best to keep the financial impact down, but we still require that fee.
Any other comments? Anybody else got any comments? Okay, I agree with Mark. We will work with him, but he's got to pick a site. Like I say, if he picks a site that has a previous site plan, then that's going to be very simple. If he picks another site, I'd be more than happy to meet with him at town hall to kind of go over and maybe help him with a sketch, and then work with him as far as any waivers. Or he can come in and meet the whole board, but he really needs to decide exactly where it's going to go. So if you don't mind, Joanne, just sharing some of those thoughts with him in an email.
Yep, I'll do that.
Okay. Anything else on the taco? All right, and next item is the email from Charlie regarding Bud's Goods and an attached host community agreement. I must say that I did not read the agreement, but I'm assuming that the selectmen agreed to the same thing that Four Daughters were doing down there.
Well, they also have outdoor cultivation on here. I don't think they had that with the Four Daughters.
Okay. All right, like I said, I did not.
No, it's okay. I'm just letting you know.
Anybody have any concerns on that? I mean, there's nothing in front of the board just yet with that, so if anybody's got any comments, you can share them now, or we can wait until we get a site plan in and go from there.
I meant to go by because I've heard some rustling around town that there's some greenhouses being put up there already. Does anybody know about that? Because I didn't get a chance to drive by there.
I haven't seen anything, but I have not been by there in weeks, so.
I haven't been by there either.
Charlie, anything from the selectmen's meetings that you can tell us about the greenhouses being put up out there, or?
Well, if there are greenhouses being put up there, they're not in connection with anything to do with the project because they're moving. They'd have to do site plan. They'd have to get the building permits and everything else.
Okay.
So there are three parts of getting a marijuana facility. One is to get the host community agreement, which is what they're coming back to get amendments to. Second is they need a provisional license from the state Cannabis Control Commission. I believe they've gotten that. And then three is, and they met with you, in fact, I think a couple of months ago, very informally. They need to go through site plan review and the special permit process.
Yeah, I'm just asking because I heard from some people that there were greenhouses up and if we knew anything about it, and I didn't. But
if I have time, I'll try and get out. But if they're up there, they're, either A, they're unauthorized, or B, they don't have anything to do with the project itself. It's one or the other, but I don't even know if they're up.
I don't mind. I'll take a ride by and take some pictures and let everybody know what they are.
Okay, very good. Charlie, I got to pause this. Do we have any other audience participation other than the board members?
Well, we've got a couple of people now, 3, I believe. Somebody just, or 2 now. I don't know if they're here. They're not, people are choosing to mute themselves if they want to. So for instance, we have 2 non-board members here on the participant list. I have no idea if they're here for a particular purpose or not. They've chosen to mute themselves. They could always unmute at any time and ask the chair to be recognized or something like that.
Okay. I'm not all that Zoom conscious, so they can put their hands up or whatever they need to do if there's any comments.
Yeah.
We're not taking any votes, so I don't think so. I'm not really looking to find out who's out there, but if someone has a comment, they'll have to let us know. Okay. We did discuss O'Reilly's, the wheelchair ramp. Did everyone get a chance to see that report? We're out there, so I think we're okay with that item, that email.
Yes.
And I did send an email to Mike Devarney, and we also met out there. Basically, Amory's letter wanted us to request they do the painting. I did that, met with him, so that matter's concluded at this point.
I think we should make the motion at the board for that, to make it official.
A motion to do what?
To request that O'Reilly's paint the sidewalk.
Oh yeah, I think he did recommend that. Yeah, I'd make a motion to request the painting of the crosswalk at O'Reilly's.
Second.
Okay, hold on. Okay, we have a motion by Mark. We have a second by Gordon. And I'll take a roll call vote. Amy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes,
Alan? Yes.
it just makes it official.
Okay. We also have the invoice to pay, and which is the next item here. And I don't believe that there's enough in that account to pay that. So we shouldn't be signing this invoice, or should we sign it and wait for the money to come in? Somebody's gonna have to kind of give me a lead on that.
I don't have a copy
Yeah,
of it.
we can sign it and then make the request for them to fund the money and then pay it out when that money comes in.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so,
fine.
so I would be looking for a motion, oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Okay, even though it's under bills, I'm gonna be looking for a motion to pay, the $160.65 to Armory Engineering in regarding the O'Reilly's 330 Plymouth Street.
Make a motion to pay the invoice number 15492 dated 11/13/20 of $160.65 to Amory Engineering for
Right.
O'Reilly's site plan review.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Amy?
Yep.
Rick?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Ellen, yes.
So O'Reilly's has to fund that account regardless because it's
Yeah,
negative.
we've asked that, they'll send us $2,000 for that. That was in that prior motion, and now we authorize paying the bills.
And that's how the revolving accounts work.
Right.
They fund the money in there, the bills come in, we pay them. If the money isn't there, and we request them to put more money in.
Okay.
Joanne, can you handle that request, or you prefer I do? Well, we can talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. All right, we have some notices from abutting towns of Bridgewater, Pembroke, East Bridgewater. Anybody have any issues with those?
No, I read them and I don't see anything there.
Okay.
Yep, same now.
Anybody else?
No issues.
Okay. And we have two ZBA petitions granting for special permits. Does anybody have any comments?
I read them. I don't have any comments on them.
No, I read them also. Anybody else get a chance to read them, or?
Yeah, I read them.
Okay.
Yeah, I did read them.
All right, so there's no issues there. We've covered the bills. Our next item is the Country Club's 40B project. The agenda says it was postponed. It was adjourned till a different date. It was continued till December 16th at 7 p.m. I don't know that, I shouldn't say it. There was some planning board members that listened last night. There was a lot of discussion. I didn't hear the first part. I wasn't available. It seemed to be a lot of discussion about the buildings and how the buildings were going to look, access roadway and fire protection and hydrants. And there was some issues discussed briefly on drainage and some issues on the septics. Again, what I would ask the members to do is maybe participate in those, and then I don't know that it's required, but I would think that the ZBA should be looking for some guidance from us, especially even on the drainage. That area is terrible, as everybody knows. And it's concerning to me where you're going to have a lot of impervious surfaces now where that water is going to go. I know the Alzos have had problems in the past. I've looked at some of the drainage. One comment that I made to them was in the basins themselves, there's ways to eliminate what we call total suspended solids, and that's the items that float into the catch basins, the gas and the oil from cars, the antifreeze, the salt and all that stuff, debris. I know some projects require filters in the basins so that it'll remove some of that debris before it gets out into the drainage areas. in the drainage areas, I've seen kind of where they're gonna go, but the whole area, it's got 4 feet of sands, and then the rest of it's silt, loam, or clay down below. So that's very concerning. And that's what we kind of discussed. So I'm hoping that some of the board members can listen to the rest of them, unless they got any comments now they want to share at the next meeting. I don't think they're going to be going over drainage the next meeting. They're going to be looking at traffic, fire, and water. And I think they're going to be scheduling like 4 meetings. So not at the next one, but at the following meeting, if you got any ideas or any concerns, please, let's share them. We can either go in as a board or we can go in individually.
They're gonna have to do something for treatment for the drainage.
That's my,
They can't just dump the drainage out. It's gotta be treated.
well, the comment from Silver Engineering was that they got some deep basins, and, deep basins are deep, fine, I guess. But if you got stuff that's in there, whether it's deep or shallow, soon as the next amount of affluent comes in, it's going to go out into the system. But I'm really not clear, and maybe Charlie can enlighten us. I think the whole authority is with the ZBA.
Correct.
And
We're more of an advisory to the ZBA.
I don't think there's any site plan review in this. So
Correct.
if there is some sort of comments, then we should jot them down and get together. Again, I thought of the basins, and I think, and I spoke with Mrs. Alger a while ago, and she told me about some pipe that was supposed to be installed and go out to a pond out there or a reservoir, which I'm not sure where that is. But that might be something that the ZBA would include, just so that we can get rid of that water, because the water will go nowhere. It's not going to go in the ground out there.
Well, their whole design is to dump it over into the country club, into that pond over there.
I didn't see that in the on the plans, but again, we're working with these 8.5 by 11 prints, so I think when you look through it, the outflow is going to go right out into the country club, and it flows into their pond there by the. Okay, we'll double check. I mean, I hope so, and if that's the case, then they're probably going to need some easements to do that, because I know that there's a river or something, or some sort of a that picks up water that goes through the Alger's property, and if it goes into a pond, I'm not sure. So,
Alan,
yes, sir.
Carlos has raised his hand. So I don't know if he has something specific.
Who raised the hand?
Carlos Schulte.
Hi, Carlos.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good. And you?
Good. I was curious whether or not the Planning Board or Zoning Board of Appeals was going to engage a third-party peer review to go over the application and provide technical comments for the submission, and have that be part of the consideration for the review?
The answer to that is yes. Armory Engineering is the peer review, and they've done some extensive work, and Alana posted everything today. Again.
Yeah, I can send you copies of it, Carlos.
Yeah. So if you look at that, they did it very extensive. There was some issues with drainage pipes and basins being interconnected, and some 15-inch pipes and 18-inch pipes. They picked up on all of that. But Armory did an extensive review and made a lot of comments on the drainage part of it.
Okay, and that's going to be available on the town website, or that's available elsewhere?
It's available now. And if you go to the ZBA, or one of the girls can send it to you, go to the ZBA website. When it clicks on, it's got drainage reports and everything else there.
Fantastic, thanks. And this actually will have to go through the Conservation Commission review as well, because it's within jurisdiction for that aspect of it?
I would say yes, but the problem is that the format for the 40Bs, from what I got last night, there's a certain series of meetings that have to be held. And then, and Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, and then once those are all determined and the ZBA gives its the green light, then I believe it goes to Conservation and Board of Health. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I believe that's the way these 40Bs work. Can you correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie?
Well, I mean, I would assume that they could go in any order, but since generally the big hurdle is the Chapter 40B permit, they go and try and get that approved with, obviously, if they're smart, they are interacting with Concom and Board of Health in the meantime, because the septic plans are part of the proposal. They're dealing with wetlands is part of the proposal, so that you'll still need to get permits from the Board of Health and Concom, but those applications will be based on what was approved as part of the Chapter 40B, and they'll know ahead of time what the probability is that they'll get those things approved by those two other boards.
In listening to them last night, because the Board of Health did send out a list months ago of some issues that we had with the plan, and we got no response. And then a month or so ago, I had Valerie reach out to them again, and their response was that they needed to go through the ZBA. Pretty much their response was they needed to get through the ZBA first. And I heard that again last night, that they needed to get through this process before they get into the septic process. And it didn't make a lot of sense, because there should be tanks, there should be emergency generators, and those aren't on the original 40B. But in one of the emails that I read today, they are considering doing emergency backup power sources for the septic system pumps and whatnot. But that's their call. Carlos, anything else?
Oh, thank you. Found the peer review comments as well as the responses on the website. So it looks like it's all that up there. So appreciate the information.
Okay.
I sent it to you so that it would be easy, Carlos. I wanted to say that Alan did make a lot of good points last night about not having an easement for the septic system and making sure that you had an extra trench. Is that what you were saying last night, Alan? The trench that you
need a reserve area.
Thank you. That's what I'm going for.
You need a reserve area.
So I thought it was important for them to know that now, where they're going to be re-engineering certain things. Why re-engineer and then have to re-engineer again? So I thought it was great that you were mentioning all those things then.
Yeah, just like those grinder pumps don't make any sense either.
There was an email today that what they did, they put in grinder pumps, but they should have put effluent pumps in. And the comment come back today that they were taking the grinder pumps out. But basically what they had from the septic standpoint was septic tanks going to a pump. This is 30 units going to one single pump and then being discharged into the leaching field. Well, if you don't have any power or intermittent power, your septic tanks, everything will back up because you don't have any reserve capacity for any effluent. Because even though the power goes out, people still flush the toilet and they wash their hands. So hopefully we'll get all that resolved. And the other issue that I had mentioned to Silva was the fact that there's so much silt loam out there. These foundations, or the base of these foundations, are going to have no drainage. So they really need to make sure that these are high enough above modeling so that we don't have a repeat of happened at the corner. So,
like somebody used at Leiden Lane.
Yeah, Leiden Lane, with all the basements flooding. So hopefully everybody will participate in that next meeting on December 16th.
The third Wednesdays don't work for me, so I won't be able to. I can maybe send some comments and then watch it afterwards.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Just send them to Joanne and we'll share them. Again, I will ask Joanne to post a meeting. I didn't know who was going to, if I don't have any comments directly from the board, then I'm not gonna call the meeting to order. If I do have comments from the board to be shared with them, then when the 40B meeting comes on, then I will ask the ZBA chairman to allow us to go into session also. So,
Yeah, I think we should still post it though in the hopes, because like I was
Yes.
hoping to get there and I didn't, but
yeah, no,
you know,
we-
next time, same thing.
yeah, we will have
I
it
agree.
posted. Joanne, make note of that. I won't open a meeting unless I know that we have comments generated by the board.
Yeah.
in its entirety.
I did for the December 16th meeting.
Yes. Everybody kind of clear on that?
Yep.
Okay. I believe the last item on our agenda is the November 5th, 2020 meeting minutes. You know, I've had a chance to review them. They seem to be pretty straightforward. Do I have any comments?
There was an updated version sent to Joanne at like 1:30 today.
On the
She
November
sent it
5th?
out. She sent it all to us.
On November 5th meeting minutes?
That was the last meeting. Yep. It should be in your email from Joanne at 2:49.
Okay. It could have been, I had a busy day today.
That's okay. Want me to forward it?
What were the comments of, first of all, we discussed a few weeks ago that any changes in the meeting minutes should be done 3 days in advance. I
I think we all disagreed to that.
think
Yeah,
Gordon.
and it's only last meeting's minutes, so.
So what, are these changes substantial? Because I haven't seen them.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Want me to share them on the screen so you can read them? Or you do have them in your email as well.
Yeah, but I'm on the computer, so I'm not going to be able to get into email.
I can do a share screen. Do you want me to?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Just give me a second.
While she's doing this, any of the other guys, did you read her email?
Yeah, I think that's the version I actually read.
The version of,
It's on the screen now.
oh boy. Can you
What do you want me to do?
make it larger?
I think you have to do that on your computer. You'd probably go up to,
Hold control and then roll the thing up.
thank you, Mark.
Sharon, do what?
On the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the slide there.
How do we make that larger?
Yeah.
So-
Amy, it's on the bottom right-hand corner there. You
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Oh, thank you. All right, how's that? Looks worse.
I think that's 91%. Yeah, you want more than 100.
Oops. See if I went,
That's little.
oh, all right, like that.
Oh,
You mean?
there it goes. Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right, I just didn't go far enough.
Okay. What were the,
They're all in bold. They're all in bold, like you asked.
what's the board's pleasure? Do you want to spend a lot of time on this tonight, or you want to hold off and give everybody a chance to read them? The ones that were done by Joanne and compare them with the ones that are here.
Yeah, if everybody needs more time, they're still fresh. So.
Yeah, they're still fresh. Yeah. Trying to figure this out.
What are these here from?
These are from our last meeting.
So they're not Joanne's, what?
They're the bolds are the additions that I added.
Mine are in the email that you got today with all of the meeting information.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scroll fast.
Okay.
And I also sent them on Monday as well.
Okay. So we're gonna hold on the meetings minutes. Everybody get a chance to take a look at them and which is bold and which isn't. Joanne, those were on tape. Do you have to go to Area 58 to get that, or is it possible for you to send us a link, or just go on Area 58 to get,
Right, on YouTube, right.
okay. All right, I suggest that if somebody
Yeah.
wants to double check, we can go to Area 58 to see actually what happened. And
Right. I was just gonna ask Amy if she could do her changes in a different color, just to, it's kind of difficult to see them, but that'd be perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna hold off on the November 5th, 2020 meetings. Is there anything that I missed?
Motion to adjourn?
I guess
That's a
I
good
didn't
one.
miss anything. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I'm gonna do a roll.
Just before we do, I just want to make note that I'm not going to be able to make next meeting.
Oh,
Okay,
So
Christmas protest?
I wish I have a orientation. I tried to do it like I tried to do part of it, and they only do it the first Thursday and second Thursday. So the guy kept being like, "Yeah, no problem. We'll just do it next time." And I'm like, "Dude, this guy doesn't understand. Like next month, it's still the first Thursday. Like I don't. Yeah, I don't know." So
okay. Joanne will make note of that. We have a motion in a second. Again, I'm gonna take a roll call vote. Amy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Gordon?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving. It being 7:46, we're gonna adjourn the November 19th Planning Board meeting.